Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is the second video in our Lionel Base 3 how-to series. I'm actually filming this video the same night I filmed the first one. In this video, we're going to be going over how to run trains with the Cab 3 app that goes with the Lionel Base 3. So we'll be running engines like the Alaska engine you see right there. I've also got the Polar Express and the Big Boy. We can run those two just so you can show things that are unique to steam engines and unique to those two engines specifically. But if you do not have your Base 3 set up, or you don't have your engines programmed into your Base 3, go back to the first video in this series that was about doing a quick setup of the Base 3 and programming engines into it. If you already have your Base 3 set up and your engines programmed into it, or and you're running engines, but you're trying to figure out the kind of the ins and outs of this app right from the beginning, this will be a good video. Even if you had the Base 3 for a little while, it's kind of helpful to watch these videos. I didn't even know half of the features of this app existed until I started seeing videos of people using them. So that's why I feel like it's probably a good idea to make this video for people who may not know about some certain buttons, what things do in the app. And if I missed something and you guys know about something that I don't show here, please put that in the comments below. I will try to add that to the video or in a later video. Like I said, in the first video of this series, if you don't watch that one, this video, this series is going to be about 3 or 4 videos long, could even be 5, depending on how much we're going to show. These videos are kind of going to be the 2 main ones for just how to run engine with the Base 3. Videos 3, 4, and possibly 5 we'll kind of talk about doing lash ups with more than one engine, kind of the engine roster, going through some engine settings, programming non-engines into the Base 3. I currently only have a TMCC Station Sounds Diner, so not really too much to show for that. Maybe when I get some sort of freight sounds car or something like that, I can kind of do a video showing how that works. But yeah, so in this video, we're just going to be running a whole lot of trains with the Cab 3. Okay, I've got the Lionel Legacy Alaska ST70 Mac on the tracks. I already got track power on, set to 18 volts. And then here we are in the Cab 3 app. As you can see, I already have it opened up in here. If you were not already on the engine, what you have to do is you can either click engine, type in the number, this is 41, and then enter. It'll go to the engine. Or you can click, close right here, where it says engine 0041, it will say engine 00, whatever number you're on. Click that, that takes you to your engine roster. This is all the engines you have programmed into it. And then right now this is ordered by TMCC ID, TMCC ID number, or actually, sorry, it is ordered by in alphabetical order. You can change the way it's ordered by this. So we can say want to order by road name. Then it puts it in road name order of the engines that I have put in here. So we will go back to this engine. And also, while you're running engines, if you want to switch between engines you're currently running, you can press these little side arrows. That will take you to another engine that you're running. So back on the engine. So this is one of the things that I did not know how to do when I first got the Cab 3, and that was doing the extended startup on a Legacy engine or a Vision Line engine. I believe, only the Lionel Legacy and Vision Line engines have this feature. To do that, you go to Engine, and then you're going to hold down this little kind of on button here for about 3 seconds, and it will then do the extended startup. So I'll do that right here, and we'll get this engine started up.
This is the dispatcher. Start up and hold. Over. Okay, let's get to work. Out.
Okay, now that our engine is all started up, you can go over kind of some of the very basic controls for the engine. So this is your whistle and bell slider. You pull down to, in this case, because it is a diesel, you can quill the horn, which isn't very realistic, but it's still fun to do by pulling down to different levels, and one of different numbers of these arrows will light up. So I'll show you that real quick. And then for the bell, you can either swipe up once for a single bell hit, or you can swipe up and hold, and that will turn it on. So we'll swipe once, it's one bell, swipe up and hold. Now our bell is on. And then this is another thing that I actually discovered on the TMCC controller that I've figured out how to do on here, turn the bell off, is for the Legacy and Vision Line engines, you can go between the 5 different horns, whistles, or bells. So to do that, you click aux 1 and then blow the whistle. Again, aux 1 whistle. Oops, sorry. And then it's the exact same thing for the bell. Again, aux 1 and the bell. So yeah, those are all, that's how you change between the whistles and bells. Let's turn that off. Okay. Those off. So now, whistle, bell, then you can do crew dialogue, where you can press either of these buttons, which give you dialogue. This will come, if you press this button, it kind of has a picture of a tower on it. The dialogue will come from the people that are kind of supposed to be in the control tower first. If you press the little walkie-talkie one, they will come from the people who are in the engine. So we'll press the walkie-talkie one.
Dispatcher, we're ready. Is it okay to pull? Over. Ready, stand by. Out.
And then, so that just gives you kind of random dialogue. It will change based on whether clearly you're stopped or going. But if you want to do more specific dialogue, you can press this bottom arrow down here to the left. And then this gives you more options for different things to press. So say I want the dialogue to come start where I want the engineer of the train to ask, can I go? And I want the tower to say no. This one here, it says, can I go? No, and has a little walkie-talkie. So that means the engineer will ask first, and then the tower will respond and say that he can't go. So we'll do that real quick.
Dispatcher, error is made. Brake test complete. Are we clear to pull? Over. Hold your position. Out.
So this is kind of good for if you're running trains and you want the dialogue to match what you're actually doing. You don't get the engineer telling you not to go like 3 times in a row while you're just sitting there waiting to go. And then, so you have all these different ones. You can say that you've arrived, good to go, stand by, all these things. So we'll say we're good to go.
This is the dispatcher. Take the green. Over. Thank you much. Cleared outbound. Out.
So now I was saying we're good to go. And as you can tell, that came from the tower first because there's a little tower icon there. Also, if you press the aux 1 button and then press any of these, it will do it in a different way than it did the last time. So if I press aux 1 and then press the same thing.
This is the dispatcher. Take the green. Over. Thank you much. Cleared outbound. Out.
I believe that was different from the last one. You guys can rewind to check that, see it's a little bit different. But if so that way, if you want to say the same thing in a different way, press aux 1, then press the dialogue, and it will give you a different dialogue. So then if we get the engine moving, the dialogue options will change. And there's another button we can then show you. So the engine is currently set to forward. So you can see down there, you press that, changes direction. So it's reverse, forward. Then if you want the engine to go at its slowest speed, just very slow roll, you press this little button here that says 1. It's got the arrows, so we press that. The engine will go at its slowest speed. Now if we go to dialogue, you can see it's changed. So we have different options for what we want him to say. So we can say he's now departed.
Dispatcher, we're on the move. Over. Roger that. Good run. Out.
And again, if I press aux 1 and then press that, it'll be different.
Dispatcher, train is outbound. Over. Very good. Keep rolling. Out.
Okay, so we'll go back here. We can then stop the engine by just taking that down. Engine is now stopped. And so up here, it tells you which speed step you are on. You go from speed step, for legacy, speed step 0 to 200. And then, so we'll back the engine up. And so you can just move this slider to the speed you want. So we'll back him up. And then we can just stop. The engine will stop. You can also, if you tap on the numbers up there, I believe this works. We gotta hold it. Oh, so it's, okay. If you hold it, you can set the speed limit, so you can get the engine moving to whatever speed you want. Hold that. So say the engine was moving at speed step 100 or something. and I want to set that as a speed limit, I can then click set, and then the engine will not go above that. Say if you have kids over running trains, you can then set a speed limit so they don't, run the train super fast. And by kids, I mean little kids, or people who don't understand the trains. You can set that so the trains don't get going too fast. They will be able to take the slider up, but the engine won't keep getting any faster. And I thought, oh, there we go. There's some way. Oh, okay, that's what it is. If you double tap on the numbers, you then get this dial, which is very similar to all the remotes that they have. So let's get out of that, put it back and forward. Double tap there, and then you can just twist the dial to change the speeds. And then we're gonna go back down. The only issue, let's get out of that, with that is you can't press any other buttons at the same time. But still, if you want to have something that's kind of like the dial that the original ones have, you then have that there for you. Okay, so now there's a couple other buttons on here, as you can see. This changes the master volume of the engine. The bell will ding when it gets louder or quieter. It's max volume. This activates the front and rear couplers. Front coupler, rear coupler. Clearly, if an engine doesn't have a front coupler, like many of the steam engines, that will just do nothing. And then we have a few more buttons on here. This can turn the smoke on or off. You have to have the switch on your engine with the smoke on to turn the smoke on. I think I currently have the switch off, so when I press this, I'll just say, so as you can see up here in the top, the smoke is now off. I've pressed this button down here, turns the smoke off. When I press this button, it goes through different levels. So if you watch right up there, it goes from low, medium, to high. So you can kind of have different, and then this takes it back down. You have different levels of smoke output, so if you want to have really impressive, lot of smoke, put that on high. You get a ton of smoke coming out of it. If you want the smoke to last a bit longer, you can put it on low. Less will come out, smoke fluid will last a bit longer. So then that leaves us with only a few more buttons on here. This is the boost, and then the brake button, which I'm still trying to figure out how to use, but that's what those buttons do. This can change the RPM level for diesels, so we can increase RPMs. Oop. Sorry, I accidentally pressed the dialogue. Increase RPMs, and then turn them back down. So those change RPM levels. Then this little button with the R in the middle that resets the engine. Doesn't completely do everything, that just kind of resets the engine to the start of its journey. So for something like a steam engine, which we'll go over later, you press that and hold it, it will do a coal fueling sequence, which for the big boy makes the coal in the tender raise up if it's lowered. But and then finally we have this little circle here, and if you press that, that then activates the shutdown sequence and turns the engine off. So we'll get that over here. Sorry, my arm's getting tired. And then we'll press that, and the engine will shut off.
Dispatcher, we're signing out and going to bees. Out.
Okay, so next we will kind of go through the similar stuff with the big boy and the Polar Express, so you can kind of see how that's different for a steam engine. Alright, now as you can see, I've pulled the Lionel Vision Line Big Boy around, so I can show you how this is a little bit different than the diesel engine looks. And it works a little bit differently too. So this is what it looks like for the big boy. You can see these two buttons up here are different. I can go back there so you can see those change from the RPM buttons to other buttons. And we'll go over how that works too. Another quick thing is, as you can see, for the Alaska engine, I have a picture in there. I do not have a do not have a picture yet in there for the big boy. I normally use my iPad when I'm running trains. I'm currently filming on my iPad, so that's why I'm using my phone here, so I don't have a picture in yet. But we can show you real quick how to put a picture in for an engine. So all you have to do is, you'll see this right here, you double tap on there, then you can take a picture. So we can go to capture photo, and then we can take a photo of the engine and save it. So I'll go do that real quick, and then we can put that in. Okay, I've now gotten a photo of the engine. So all you do is then click down here, use photo. Just click retake to do it again. Photo is in there. You can crop it by pressing this button over here. It does kind of make it kind of small. It's really your only option for it. So if you take a long picture, that works, or you can click the X, leave it like that, click Save Photo, and now you have a photo in there. So if I go to my roster, you can see Big Boy now has a photo in there for it. So then you can go through and do that for all of your engines. But okay, so getting back to running this thing, I already have track power on. Not sure why it's in reverse. Oh, so that just turned it on. If you press any button, the engine will turn on. Again, oops, sorry, for the Big Boy, you can press the, hold down that there and get the extended start up sequence. You can actually do that real quick. So we'll press the same button we pressed on the diesel to turn the engine off. And again, definitely go back and rewatch any stuff that you missed for the diesel or for this too. I also am going to try to put chapters into the video. I've seen people do that where it like tells you what's going on in each section of the video. I haven't done that before. Trying to figure that out. If I can't, I might just put a comment on there and pin it. It tells you what happens at each section. But so now we can do startup sequence. We'll just hold down this button again.
Train on brake line, UP 4019. We're showing 90 pounds on the rear of the train. Take out 20 for initial terminal brake test.
That's a Roger. 20-pound reduction given. Checking for leakage. Out.
Roger, showing 20 pounds. Walking the train. Brakeman out.
You know what? I just realized I have the volume really low right now because I turned down. So just like the diesel, same thing, you turn the volume back up and the bell dings. This is for the master volume. Oops, sorry. I got the volume all the way up. Again, for the diesel, these all buttons are all the same. This is radio chatter, that just does the radio chatter. Sorry, this comes from the engine. Front coupler, rear coupler. Clearly, Big Boy has no front coupler, so just the rear coupler works. Smoke output, reset, roll speed. See, rolls, and then we can stop the engine. And then go back over here, dialogue, similar dialogue, options here. I'm just editing this little section into the original recording. I forgot to talk about this when I first recorded this, but some of you may have noticed that when I put the engine into motion, the little circle here changed to a triangle. And the same thing happens with the diesel engines and all other engines. So you see I put that in the roll speed. It's a triangle. When you press that button, it puts it in, it asks for the emergency stop sequence. So when I press that, the tower is going to say, oh, emergency stop for the engine, and it will do that at any speed, and then when you stop it, it'll say all good, all that stuff. So stop the engine. I'll get it backed up. Oops, sorry. Stop the engine. I'll get it backed up, have it run by, and do that sequence. Okay, the engine is moving. Clearly, you would normally try and do this when it's moving at a higher speed for emergency stop, but it works at a low speed too. So I'll press that little triangle button, and the tower will talk to the engine.
Tower to UP 4019. The train ahead of you just went into emergency. Need you to stop quick and hold on the main. Over. Yes, sir. We are in an emergency.
Then we'll stop the train, and it will be like, okay, all good. You continue on your trip.
Green River, all is good. We managed to stop. Over.
Thank you. You can proceed on cab signal indication to the next interlocking when ready.
Okay, so that's just kind of a fun feature that they've put into this app with the emergency stop. Again, works on normal legacy engines as well. Just had the Big Boy right here, so I showed you on that. But yeah, so back to what I was saying about the Big Boy. So now where these engines are a little bit different for the Big Boy, and I will show this on the Alaska engine too when we get it running on the layout more, is if you hold down the aux2 button, you get to the lighting settings. These are all sorts of different options here for lighting. The main ones that you probably, at least that apply to the Big Boy, is you can turn on and off, you can toggle the front classification lights, classification lights and the rear classification lights between the front between green, white, and off, and the back between red, white, and off. So this is what it is. I believe this is the back. Yes, and you see now those lights are white. Those lights are white. Press it again. Oops, sorry. Oh, so now they're red. Press this button. Turns them off. Red, white, red, off. Goes back on. And then this does the front ones. So you watch the front ones change. Now they're white, green, now they're off. So then you can kind of change the lights to match how you want. Like for example, on the Polar Express, I have the front one set to white because the movie doesn't actually have classification lights, and I'd rather have them on than just off, but whatever. That's just my personal preference. And then this has other options like Rule 17 lighting and stuff. that kind of changes how bright the headlight and stuff is. Turn that on and off. Not entirely sure what that does, and these other buttons are for different things. I believe these two are for if you have a doghouse on your tender. These, I think, are track lights. Not entirely sure what this one is, and I think this is just lighting overall. You see that's turned off, the cab lighting and all that stuff. Turn that back on. Cab lighting's back on. If you really want to see what those do, go to the control website for the base 3, and that'll tell you all that stuff. Then to get out of this menu, you just press aux2, and we're back to the home menu. So for the big boy, because it's a steam engine, you can also have the water fueling sequence and the coal fueling sequence. So to fill up the coal, you hold down on the R button. You hear the whistle, and then you're filling up coal. When you let go, the engineer will say, "Oh, our coal is full." So here, we'll do that real quick. Press and hold. So you can hear the sound of coal being put into the tender. When I let go, it will stop. And then to fill up water, you press this little button up here. Kind of has a spout with some, looks like steam coming out of it, but I think it's just, oh, sorry, that's not how you do water. That is how you do the blowdown effect from the sides of the engine for the big boy. Or if it doesn't have the steam coming out the sides, it will just play the sound. So we'll hear the sound. And that's when steam comes out, right? That little circle right there. Steam will come out of there. That's a vision line feature, so most engines don't have that, but it will still play the sound on the other engines. And then the little drop of water is how you play, clearly, is how you play the water fueling sequence. So we'll hold that down. And then when we let go, it'll stop.
The water tank's full. Out.
And then, this is very similar on the diesel engine as well. Come over here, click the right arrow. This is other settings. So each of these buttons corresponds to a certain speed. I believe it goes like so. Here, we'll press it. And it sets the engine to that speed. Stop it because we want the engine to stay here. Sometimes if the engine doesn't stop all the way, just kind of pull this thing up and go back down and it'll stop. And sometimes it has that issue, but for me it's fine. So that gives you different speed settings, a certain step or whatever. And then these little buttons here, they don't actually move, but they'll have the dispatcher or the engineer tell you what the fuel level is. So after a longer trip, the engineer might say, "Oh, our fuel is half full," or in this case, it'd be coal. Our coal is almost empty, or our water is almost empty. So now it's going to say it's full because we just turned the engine on and filled up the coal and water.
The coal's full. Out.
Or the water.
The water tank's full. Out.
So then if you've been running it a while, you press that. He says, "Oh, well, my water tank's almost empty." Then you can load up the water by holding down that button. When you let go, it'll say my water's full, and that kind of resets the virtual water level in the engine. Now for these volume buttons down here, this controls the other volume aspects of the engine. So this is the main volume. Does the same thing that these buttons do out here. You get the bell. This changes the background sounds. See, I've turned the background sounds now super low, but the whistle's still loud. Turn this back up. So those are just sounds like chuffing and all of that stuff, which that's it full. And then we have the EFX sounds, which is like the dispatcher talking and that kind of stuff. And that will turn that up and down for how loud that is. So that's what all those buttons do. Clearly for a diesel engine, there will be no water button here. I can show you that with that guy. See, no water button there, just fuel. And then go back here to the home screen. And those are all the buttons for the steam engine versus the diesel. Again, they still has the specific dialogue over here. For the Polar Express, really, the only difference is it doesn't actually have dialogue. It has the movie dialogue. And for some reason, not sure why they did this, but you can't, like, pick the dialogue that comes out of it, like which movie quote, I guess you could say, comes out of it. It doesn't even correspond. So I could click the standby button, and it gives me one set of dialogue. I click it again, it gives me complete other. The Polar Express does give you different dialogue from when it's stopped to when it's going. Like, it will give recordings from the movie of when the engine was stopped, like all aboard, when the engine was stopped, and then when it's moving, all those different recordings. So that is good, but you can't really pick the recordings of the pull twist, which can get kind of annoying. But I guess that's just the way it is. So those are all the controls for the steam and diesel engine. Same for the diesel. If you want to switch between the different whistles and bells, click aux 1 and then do that. And then for the big boy, because this is a Vision Line engine, the aux 3 button does the pop-off steam effect, which is where the steam comes out of the pop-off valves up there. I don't have it on right now, but I don't think it'll play the sound. Oh, it does. If you press it, it just kind of plays the sound. When the smoke is on, if you hold that down, you can activate the pop-off sequence. Otherwise, it just does it on its own. So those are all the buttons for running an engine. We can roll this guy out, and then we'll do a couple quick videos of just the engines run, like using this while the engines are running, and then we'll wrap this video all up. So, oh, sorry. One more thing before I stop this. To put the engine in the sequence mode, where it will kind of play the sounds by itself, you hold down the aux 1 button, get it in view, and it will kind of give you the whistle and the bell. And then when you press the roll button, it will do dialogue, and then when you get it moving, it will play the bell, do the whistle randomly until you get fast enough and it turns off the bell, all that stuff. So we'll do that right now as we get this thing out of here. Now press the roll button, which is this little one here.
Dispatcher to engine 4019. You can take the green. Over. Thank you much. All clear, moving to the outbound. 4019, out.
So I didn't do any of that. You still can blow the button and do the whistle and stuff by yourself. You can do that. I'll turn the bell on. But as you can see here, up it says it's in speed step 1, but it's not moving because we're in that sequence, the trip sequence mode. So then we'll get this engine moving. It will do the bell by itself. Maybe blow the whistle a few times, and then it will eventually turn off on its own.
Dispatch, this is UP 4019. Clear signal in the cab. We're underway. Over. Roger that. Have a good run. Out.
Okay, so then that is just for, let me just stop the engine real quick. It'll also play sounds as it's stopping. You'll hear those. We'll go over that later. I'm going to turn the engine off.
UP 4019 to the dispatcher. Go to the register room to sign out.
To turn off that mode, you just press that little circle again. And I'll show how that works when you stop the engines. And what that does, that mode does, like I said, was when you hold down the aux 1 button, is that way you can kind of let the engine run. And while it's running, I might just randomly blow the whistle while you're running the engines. So you don't have to do anything. You can just watch the engines go. And maybe every 3 minutes or something, the whistle goes off or the dispatcher starts talking or something like that. You can do the same thing for diesel engines. That's not just a Vision Line thing. For all legacy engines have that. The Pull Trust has got it. The Alaska engine has it. But yeah, so that is kind of basic controls for running the engine from the app. So you guys might want to see some trains running. So we'll get these trains going around the layout, and I'll show you just basically almost a run session with the Cab 3. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that in a separate video. That'll be video 3. I'll just film a run session of me using the Cab 3 app. I won't say a word, so you can just see what I'm doing. And I will say in that video at the start, check out this video for all the different buttons and stuff. So actually, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So that's going to be it for this video. In the next video, that is going to be just me running sorry, I kind of just made up my mind right here, but I feel like that's probably a good idea. So if you want to see that, basically a run session using the Cab 3 app and the Base 3, that will be part 3 in this series. And so yeah, that is how to run engines using the Cab 3 app, diesel and steam. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comments down below. If I missed something, please tell me, and I will try to fix that somehow. Like I said, there should be chapters in this video. If there aren't, then, and you want to go back to a certain spot, check in the comments. I probably pinned one of my own comments that tells you what happens in each section. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.